What's good, people, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I gotta be honest, man. Recently, I ain't been doing too good. And the past few days, I ain't been feeling too good. Now, the reason why I wanna make this video is because I feel like on social media, people love to constantly portray this perfect image as if everything is great 24/7 and they're always winning. But life isn't like that. And this is why I'm making this video. Because just how you learn from your own losses in life, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, where I say that failure is your superpower. Now, other people can also learn from your losses. Why? Because other people are going through the exact same thing as you. You may not realize it. People feel like the world revolves around them, or people think, woe me, why me? That's the big point of today's video, because I'm gonna bounce back from this slump, as I call it. Because, for example, things haven't been really going my way. Things that I wanted to happen haven't actually happened the way that I envisioned and planned them, so it slowed me down a bit. I've fallen back into a few bad habits, and to be honest, it's been making me feel really shit. But this is the thing. Unlike many people out there, I know exactly how to bounce back from this and actually come back stronger. Why? Because there's actually a formula to this, and a lot of the reason why people end up in slumps like this, feeling bad, feeling shitty, feeling crappy, right? Not getting the things they want, not achieving the things they want, living a life that is so far from what they actually desire. They're just in a constant state of pain and depression. Now, the reason why people can't get out of that comes down to one key thing, and it's because their self-image is so low. Like, I get to speak to people a lot of the time, and I see the disbelief in their own eyes, in themselves. And the reason why they disbelieve in their own selves is because of what they believe about themselves. And what they believe about themselves is the manifestation of their own self-image. That being the case, if you're somebody who has a high self-image, it allows you to be able to conduct yourself in a much better way throughout life, and you'll realize it. Because in life, others treat you how you treat yourself, and how you treat yourself and carry yourself is all based upon your self-image. So like I've said, right now, I'm not feeling the best. I'm not feeling good about myself. Well, I wasn't prior to this video. I was feeling really unmotivated, lazy, sloth-like, just so demotivated essentially. And it's because I let myself down, so I broke my word to myself. So that's the worst thing you can do. The more you break the word to yourself, the worse your self-image gets. Whereas the more you keep your word to yourself, the higher your self-image gets. Why? Because you trust yourself more, which means you build confidence. That's the key, by the way, to building confidence, is keeping your word to yourself. Because then you realize you can trust yourself, you rely on yourself, now you respect yourself, right? And recently, like I said, we gotta be honest, the way that things have been going is all my fault. I'm the one who slowed things down. I'm the one who fell back into bad habits. I'm the one who made a few bad decisions and got too comfortable. Therefore, it's my fault that I feel like this. And even if there are outside factors and all that, I'm not gonna blame them, because it's not gonna serve me. Now, this doesn't mean I'm gonna beat myself up, because this is what people do. And I've been there before. We beat ourselves up so badly that we can't even get up. But you need to nurture yourself. So what did I do yesterday? Yesterday, I took the whole day off completely. I said I ain't doing nothing, staying at home, try dopamine detox as much as I can, because our brains are so overstimulated. And then you're getting too much information from everywhere and all that. And then when you're already not in the best mental state, that can be extremely overwhelming, and then it makes you sink deeper into that hole. So step one, took a dopamine detox, took a guilt-free day off. Now, it's not an entire day off where you just sit around and completely do nothing, because subconsciously I'm programming myself to get ready and to remotivate myself. But the whole point is, you got to do it in a way where it's guilt-free, so you don't feel bad. Because a lot of people, and especially because of this hustle culture, work 24/7, bro, no sleep, all this nonsense that doesn't actually work and actually hinders you, especially long term. I know, because I've done it a lot longer than most people, and it hinders your health extremely badly long term. But people believe that stuff, so now they feel constantly guilty. And the fact that they're constantly watching people on social media, like, oh, this person's got this, that, always feeling behind. So now you're in a constant slump of demotivation. You feel guilty about not doing enough. You feel behind. And quite frankly, people's diets, for example, what they're consuming physically, like my diet has been awful. That's one of the big reasons why I feel so bad, and I know that. So this is what I always tell people. One of the best things you can do, first things first, is you clean up your eating habits. Because you put trash in you, which most of us do all the time, Just Eat, Uber, all of this, non-stop, all these foods, overeating or neglectful eating, not eating enough nutrition, you feel like shit. You're not putting the right fuel in your engine. So you're not gonna run properly, right? So that's another thing you gotta do. So for example, yesterday, I made sure my nutrition was on point. Lots of vegetables, bit of protein, and that's it. Fruits as well on the side. Woke up today, like I said, already feeling 10 times better. Simply by doing that detox, allowing myself to be guilt-free whilst doing it, and not focusing on work and more, not chasing nothing, just being present, being grateful, right? Doing that and having the correct nutrition enabled me to already wake up today, despite still having all those other problems. For example, not being in the position I wanted to with certain business goals, not being in the position I wanted to with other personal goals, I still feel 100 times better. And I've got a bit of that spark, a little bit of that motivation back. And now, remember at the start I mentioned self-image. Because I have wins before in my life, I'm able to tap into that, and instead of mentally beating myself up, this is why I can snap out of it quick. Because I go back into the past, relive those positive memories, tell myself, speak positively to myself. Self-talk is so important. That's what self-image is all about, essentially. It's your self-talk. So now I use that to build myself back up, whereas unfortunately for a lot of people, their self-talk is so negative, and all they think about is their failures, their bad position, and that's all they're thinking about, that's all they're telling themselves. So how are you ever going to get out of this slump? How are you ever going to feel better? How are you ever even going to get those wins? You're not going to be able to win if you constantly have this negative cloud over you, aka your negative self-image. You're never going to be able to get out of the slump. The only time you're ever going to feel any sort of positivity or good about yourself is when you remove yourself from your reality. What do I mean by that? So when you're doing your vices, or when you go on a quick little holiday, you're never actually going to be happy, fulfilled, content within your own actual reality, your own everyday life, which is a huge fucking problem, wouldn't you say? Like, imagine you know now 20, 30, 40 more years, and you're still gonna feel demotivated, depressed, feel like a failure. So guys, we've got steps 1 and 2, what to do. Now what do I do the rest of the week? Like I said, next, this is something you have to do constantly throughout, which is the positive self-talk, which is go into your mind, relive your wins, think of anything you achieved and think how that made you feel, right? And if you don't really have anything, then you need to get some wins ASAP. And a win can be anything. It's anything that you set as a challenge and you achieved. It's anything that you was fearful of doing but then went and did. If you said you were gonna lose 5 kg and you done it, that's a win. If you said you're gonna go get a job and you went and did, that's a win. It doesn't have to always be huge and monumental. This is for people who are like the very start of their journeys, or who are very new to essentially winning or making progress in life like that, right? But if you're somebody who's had big wins already in life, this is easy for you. It's easy to get out of the slump. You just got to go through those first days, take the detox, fix the diet, reinforce that positive self-talk, and get to work. Start doing again. Start taking action. All of this, ultimately, remember, self-talk is great, but you got to do the action. But the reason why the self-talk is essential is because it fuels the action. If you're talking negatively to yourself when you wake up every day, you're not going to get out of bed. You're not going to put in 110%. You're going to put in 20% and say, forget this, man, it's long, it's tiring, I don't care. You're going to go back to scrolling. You're going to stay stuck. And I'm telling you, if you do that, you're going to end up with the worst feeling of all, which is then regret. And then this is how vices take control of people's lives, because they're in such a cloud of negativity, so consumed by their own negative self-talk, their own negative self-image, their own failures, that they have to constantly have that vice, that smoking, that drinking, that partying, whatever it is. If you're doing it constantly, you're running from something. I was running from stuff for years, and so I know what that feels like. This isn't to judge, this is to explain the situation, because you can change your life, you can create the life you desire. Even if you're having a bad day, it ain't the end of the day. Anyway, man, I got some things to get on with now. This is just a video for anyone out there who's having a bad day or in one of those bad periods of life. You gotta fix your self-image, and the way you do that is how I've explained in this video, step by step, and you gotta keep pushing. Tough times don't last, tough people do. And remember, man, we always have a choice: elevate or deteriorate. Love.